In the sprawling, sun-scorched expanse of the Wild West, where the line between justice and lawlessness blurred like the horizon at dusk, there lived a cowboy named Clint, known for his at the edge of the vast, untamed territory, where the air was thick with freedom and the scent of sagebrush. Clint's life took a dark turn one fateful evening when he rode into the town of Dust Hollow. The town was unusually quiet, the kind of quiet that precedes a storm. At the saloon, where the amber glow of lanterns painted shadows on the walls, Clint found his old friend, Sheriff Tom. Lying in a pool of his own blood, a bullet wound piercing his heart. The shock was palpable. Sheriff Tom was more than a lawman to Clint. He was a mentor, a friend who taught him the value of justice over vengeance. As Clint knelt by Tom's side, the saloon doors swung open. In walked Deputy Jake, a young, ambitious man with eyes quick to suspicion. "Clint," he said, his voice a mix of accusation and sorrow, "you were the last to see him alive. You had an argument with Tom just days ago over the cattle rustlers." Clint stood, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. "I didn't kill him, Jake. I swear on my life." But justice in Dust Hollow was swift and often misguided. With no witnesses and the town's temper flaring, Clint was branded an outlaw for a murder he never committed. The next day, under the glaring sun, Jake declared Clint wanted for murder, dead or alive. Clint fled, not out of guilt, but to find the real killer. He knew the truth was out there, hidden in the whispered winds and the shadows of the saloons. His journey took him through rugged terrains, where the only company was his horse, a loyal steed named Dusty, and the stars that watched silently over his trails. Months passed, and Clint's name became legend, not as a murderer, but as an outlaw who defied capture, a ghost that haunted the West. He survived by his wits, trading his skills for food, always moving, always listening for whispers of the truth. One evening, under the flickering lights of a campfire, Clint met an old prospector named Silas, whose eyes held the wisdom of many seasons. Silas spoke of a man seen near Dust Hollow the night of the murder, a drifter named Red Jack, known for his quick draw and quicker temper. Red Jack, Silas murmured, had a feud with Tom over a card game gone sour. Left town in a huff, swearing revenge. Clint felt a surge of hope. Here was a lead, a sliver of light in the dark. He thanked Silas and set out on Dusty towards the last known whereabouts of Red Jack, near the ghost town of Silver Gulch. Silver Gulch was a shadow of its former self, with dilapidated buildings and streets overgrown with weeds. Here Clint found Red Jack, not in the form of a fearsome gunslinger, but as a man broken by guilt and whiskey. "Clint," Red Jack slurred, recognizing him through a haze of alcohol. "I didn't mean to do it. Tom, it was an accident." Clint replied, "I came to make peace, but he wouldn't listen." As Red Jack raised his pistol, Clint's draw was faster, so Red Jack found it smarter to surrender. Clint felt a mix of relief and fury. He had the truth but faced a dilemma. Bringing Red Jack back meant justice for Tom, but also meant facing his own label as an outlaw. With a heavy heart, Clint carried Red Jack back to Dust Hollow, hog-tied across Dusty's saddle. Upon their return, the town was in disbelief. Clint, the outlaw, had brought back the real killer. A trial was held, swift and fair, where Red Jack confessed, clearing Clint's name. The townsfolk, once ready to hang him, now looked at Clint with a mix of shame and respect. Deputy Jake, who had aged from the responsibility, offered Clint his job, but Clint declined. "I've seen too much, Jake. Maybe it's time I find my own justice, my own way." Clint left Dust Hollow not as an outlaw, but as a legend. A man who walked the fine line between the law and what's right. He rode off into the sunset, Dusty's hooves kicking up dust, leaving behind a town changed by his story. In the years that followed, tales of Clint's adventures spread across the West, not of an outlaw, but of a man who sought justice in a lawless land, proving that sometimes the truth is the most elusive frontier.